Okay, second half of week 7, chapter 25, talking about methods. A few moments ago, we were talking about setting goals, and now we're talking about the appropriate methods, which become the how-to steps to strategy. So, what's appropriate? Well, the methods are the how-to steps of strategy. The methods are how we are going to get from where we are now, where the people are now with evangelization, to get them to our end vision. So, for example, the end vision among a people group that we worked with, we wanted to see a movement of reproducing churches that were indigenously led. We wanted to see that. We wanted to see that multiplying through the people group. So then we employed different methods to our strategy, the steps that we needed to take to get from virtually no evangelical presence or no healthy evangelical presence, and certainly not an indigenous church, to a reproducing church that was indigenously led. And so the methods were the steps along the way that we used to fulfill our strategy. Practical methods. The practical methods are the action steps, okay? We have our vision, we have our mission, we set our goals, and then we have action steps, the practical ways that we are going to fulfill each goal and how each goal is then going to fulfill our overall vision or mission. Talked about it a little bit in the previous chapter, but we talked about small steps, taking the small steps to get from here to there. The small steps that we take to reach larger goals are action steps. And so when we're looking at that staircase, we're looking at the top. We have goals along the way. Each step then is an action step that gets us one step closer. So the action steps are feeding the larger goals. The larger goals are getting us to our vision, our end vision, fulfilling our mission, fulfilling our purpose. So how are we going to do that? What are the steps we're going to take? What are the practical methods, the practical ways that we are going to get from here to there? Rule of thumb, especially in missions: the ends do not always justify the means. Yes, we want results. We want people coming to faith. We want to have good reports that we send upline to those that we are accountable to. We want to be, if it's a restricted country, for example, we want to be in that country legally, ethically. And so what we do, even in being in the country, is a means to an end. And we need to make sure, again, the ends do not always justify the means. Maybe some of that will be fleshed out right here as we look at the questions for consideration. We have to ask these questions when we are looking at everything from our platform to be where we are, our visa to be where we are, to the steps we're going to take along the way to reach our end vision. We will not do just anything to get where we want to go. So, are the methods biblically grounded? God has given us an imagination. He's given us a mind to think. We are creative. We still have to make sure that we are operating creatively within biblical grounds. We want to make sure that our teachings are theologically sound and that our methods are biblically based. And yes, unfortunately, in missions around the world by missionaries from many countries around the world, this is a filter that we don't always use, or that some do not always use. We have to make sure that everything we're doing is biblically grounded. Are the methods ethical? And I would really go into platform right here, platform and visa. We served in a restricted country for almost 7 years. It required, I'm thinking of a particular one, we've served in a couple of different restricted countries, but in one particular restricted country, under what was a very harsh government, to be there long term, we had to have visas. And to have visas, we had to establish some way of having that visa. And so, as Christians, we are there to spread the gospel of truth among a people. Were we really doing what we said we were doing in order to have a visa to be there? And so, yes, we set up an office, we set up a small company. My visa was as a special certain consultant in that country, and I had to make sure that I fulfilled what I said I was doing in that country in order to remain there. It was only then that I could really justifiably carry out the rest of the work. That's ethical. Are the methods healthy? You know, we could pay our way very quickly to some sort of movement, and I'm thinking of another restricted country in another part of Asia where we served, and our mission organization, the way we operated was that we were not going to pay local pastors. And so we wanted an indigenous movement to happen. We wanted it to be healthy, and we felt like funding those local pastors was not healthy. Other mission organizations come in, they're paying pastors. Guess who the pastors went to work for, okay? But if a vision is going to be reached and it's going to be sustainable, the early methods that we employ set the tone, and they have to be healthy methods from the very beginning. Will the methods allow connectivity with the target people? So when we were in another restricted country in Asia, I actually worked as a fitness instructor, and I was doing that, and I was doing group fitness things, and I was doing it in the area where we were planting a church among a multicultural people, and that was our target people. I was able to connect with people through my platform, for example. So we have to ask the question, do the methods that we're employing allow connectivity with the target people? If they're disconnected, and that's where we're getting off the path, and we can get distracted chasing rabbits, and we're not going to have a clear path towards our envision, towards our mission. Are the methods highly reproducible? Are we establishing patterns early on in the ministry that could be sustained if we, as the foreigners, have to leave? Because if we have to leave, we want the movement to continue, but if there is high dependability on us once we leave, it's not reproducible for the locals. And so we have to ask this question, is what I'm doing reproducible by the locals? Whether I have to leave or not, can they do this on their own, or is it going to be dependent upon me? Finally, does the team have the resources for the method? There's a lot of good ways to get from here to there. There's a lot of good ways. There's a lot of good action steps that we could take to get to our goal. This goes back to the previous chapter in knowing our team. Our team are resources. Do we have team resources, team members, that can help us fulfill these action steps? Or is having that goal and those action steps going to keep us dead in the water because we don't have the resources to fulfill them? And these resources could be financial, these resources could be personnel, but we have to ask the question, do the resources and the methods that we want to employ, does it fit our team? So there's some questions for consideration in looking at healthy strategy. Again, the first paper is due this week, so I'll look forward to receiving those. You can email them to me at spcarter@samford.edu. If you have any questions about this paper or the one due next week, please email me as well. Good luck with it, and God bless as you complete those assignments. See you next week.